Holy buckets. It rained last night. And when I say it rained, I'm talking about 4 or 5 hundredths. By this evening, dust will be blowing again, don't worry. We wouldn't want to miss the dust. Now, with all that being said, good morning. Downside to the rain is it brought through a cold front, 38. We're supposed to get to like 55 and really windy all day today, so that's gonna suck. But we got water, so it's gonna be a good day. And yes, I have a horrible voice. It's a combination of things. One, my allergies are kicking in hard. That's why this rain was nice, kind of settle some pollen and dust. But two, my voice still hasn't recovered from the Avs game. Got to go to a hockey game 2 nights ago with John Deere. That was friggin' amazing. And the Avs won. So it was great all around. But here's what we got going on today. Irrigation water is here. Well, some irrigation water is here. So a big chunk of our farm is served by 3 laterals. I'll get into all that later. 1 lateral turned on yesterday. 1 turns on today. The other one will turn on Monday. So the way our canal system works is it's a rotation. Our canal stretches over 110 miles, irrigates 95,000 acres. You get water for 48 hours. Your set amount based on stuff way back. I'm not even going to try and get into how you got certain shares. But you have X amount of water you're allocated with each time the water comes by. You have 2 choices: either turn on your water no matter what the conditions, or pass it up and lose it. So a minute ago I said laterals, and you're thinking, what the hell is a lateral? So essentially a lateral is a ditch coming off the canal that carries water to multiple farms. This lateral here carries water to 4 different farms. So you gotta come check that gauge over there on the side. That's called a weir box. They know how many CFS can run through that, cubic feet per second. Then they figure up the number of shares, and they know what level on that gauge the water should run at. Every ditch is different. That one, it's hard to tell because of all the weeds in it, but that one's about 3 foot wide and it runs a couple feet deep. That one I just came from is about 1.5 feet wide and it's running about 1 foot deep. So lots of different levels. You can tell looking at that ditch, that's a pretty big ditch. That one takes water to like 10 or 12 farms. So yeah, first step of getting your water, you got to get it through that weir box. Then you got to go start checking all your divides. Here's what the divide looks like. Now I need to grab my pitchfork. So you know how many shares are coming through here, and we got to divert 1 farm. So you got to figure out their percentage to figure out the percentage of the width. Don't mind the board. As you can see, water was taken out of this lateral at one point. That was one of those temporary fixes 10 years ago. So that water will go underground, and it's actually feeding that sprinkler right there. And then right there is another divide. About 2/3 of the water is going by, the other third is going in the ground there and coming out. If you can see it, the sprinkler behind this one that's running, it's going over to that farm. Then the water gets to our ponds either by a ditch or pipeline. It's got to go through what we call the catch pond. It's also a good way to put it is sediment pond, because what it's doing is just wanting the water to flow slowly, get a lot of that sediment to slowly filter out. That's what that pile is last year's sediment. That's how much sand and silt and clay is mixed in the water. So if you can get a little bit to filter out here, it's less work you got to do over there. So concrete cylinders there act as your first screen. There's stainless steel mesh wrapped around those. So water goes in, and you've seen this kind of developing with the new pivot project. So the water goes in underground through a pipeline, over underneath the bank, I watch through the camera, and into the well casing. So then you set that well there, it pressurizes the whole system. One well is sending water to that pivot right there, the other one to that pivot right there. That's how we get the water into the sprinklers. Now the real fun part today is the biggest ditch turns on this afternoon, and it is Chaotic would be an understatement. My daughter's got a softball tournament going on today here in town. My son has a belt testing in Taekwondo. So yeah, we're getting pulled in a lot of different directions, including irrigation. So it's going to be an interesting day. Of course, first item of business is feeding cattle. Got Bart and Tuna in the feed trucks. Justin's riding. Hopefully no sick ones. It's too damn cold out there. Okay, 8:30. Cattle are fed and doctored. Go back through and check waters one more time. First softball game starts at 9. Oh, it's going to be a long day. Now, don't get me wrong. We still got a decent number of acres that come out of pipe. The majority of it's on the other side of the river. Actually, now that I think about it, almost all of it's on the other side of the river, other than this farm. Slowly getting them converted over to pivots. Just headed to town and I saw this. I'm a little concerned. I hope he's planning on coming back this morning, because the sprinkler's got to be running this afternoon. Wonder if he told anybody they were coming. This is the one that the conduit came apart and we had water in the electric line. Didn't seem to affect anything, but it was one of those deals. I've been talking all winter, hey, we gotta get that figured out. Apparently they decided today was the day. Isn't that lovely? Alright guys, real quick update. It's 12:30. Softball has been up and down. Poor girls, they're having to figure out how to play in the cold and the rain. Now they're going to figure out how to play in even more rain. Taekwondo went good. Little man got another belt. Was he orange? Was it orange? Yeah, it had to be orange. So, I ran to the house, check on a few things. I'm heading back out to the ball fields to go catch part of another game, because water turns on at 2. So as much as I love the rain, I really hope it's gone at 2, because standing out pitchforking weeds in the rain is going to be miserable. This has just been a weird day. There's rain showers popping up everywhere. They're not putting out much, but the fact it's proving it can rain is amazing. So, it's 2:40. I'm running way behind just because I've been in there 3 different times and I hadn't seen my daughter get a bat. So, I stood there till I got to see her bat. It's 10 and under softball, so she walked. It happens. Let's go pitchfork some weeds. It's gonna be fun, right? Got the water down. Last of the weeds right here. At least this is on one side of the ditch. I gotta go a mile back to the east to the other side to go help get to another farm. There it goes, go through. Damn, now I gotta go over there. There we go, that's flowing. I'll have to come back and make sure it gets through the other culvert. Right now I need to go help them other guys. It's 4 o'clock, water is now, I guess I can roll the window down on this side. Water is now officially down to all 3 ponds, but it's gonna be a couple hours of just driving and checking and driving and checking, because there is a lot of burnt chunks that are just slowly making their way down. Got to make sure all the waters get into the big ponds. That's another big one. You can plug off the culverts. And like shower number 5 is on its way. And every time one of these comes through, the winds gust up in the 40s and make a mess. So I'm loving the moisture. I mean, it's nice. Look at that. There's no dust on a dirt road. It's beautiful. Man, I hate the wind. Thankfully, the water weeds here made its own way through, so I don't have to shovel. Look at that. Can you guys see it's got a lot of snow or groffle or hail or whatever the hell you want to call it. Either way, it means it's too damn cold to be doing this. Got this one up and running. We're going to leave the other 3 pivots that we could potentially turn on tonight. We're going to leave them off because the low tonight's supposed to be like 25. But it's not supposed to get that cold till like 4 in the morning. So I told the big tuna, when you get up to pee in the middle of the night, just shut it off. This one has a small pond that leaks or seeps away, however you want to say it. So it was kind of one of those, let's turn it on so we don't waste a bunch of water. The other ones, the ponds are pretty good, and then with not running them, we'll be able to kick them on first thing in the morning. A couple things real quick. So I ended the last video talking about tractors getting a little TLC. Bam. Window tint. Oh, it looks so good. And see, looking out the back, you can tell it's not tinted very dark. From the sides, though, it looks really dark because you're looking through 2 layers of tint. And then the 260 as well. Oh man, that looks good. I love window tint on tractors and choppers and sprayers and pickups, and I love window tint. This thing really needs it bad. They've been making a lot of progress here. Got that electric panel. Come up on the pond. I believe last time I was here there was a bunch of trenches with electric wire laying around. Well, they got conduit put in, the wires through, everything's ready to go. Just talking to Tuna, sounds like they're going to get the pumps here middle of the week, which sucks because we're gonna have water here first part of the week. So the sprinklers probably aren't gonna run, but we are gonna be able to put water in the pond. Oh, one more thing. Well guys, I don't know how to explain it, but somehow my last clip on Saturday got screwed up. So here it is, Wednesday. I'm going to show you what I was talking about. So the pipe coming out of the ground, metal for the first time instead of PVC. Interested to see how that works. And since then, the electrician was here today. We are fully wired. I think as far as the pivot end goes, we're ready to roll. Granted, this is 4 days, 5 days after I've seen the camera last. Whatever. Either way, that's what I wanted to show you. Pivot end is done. And now that I'm talking to you from the future, the pump area is done, other than we're waiting on the pumps to still show up to wire them in, but all that wire in the last clip that was just kind of laying everywhere, that's all cleaned up, wired up, ready to go. So, we're ready to fire these things up once we get an inspection, which won't happen until we have pumps. But other than that, we're ready to go. Catch you guys in the next one.